Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Torment, Tides of Numenera. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you chose to join me today here in the heart of the Bloom. Last episode we found out that the Memovira is actually the first cast off. And she just can't change her face because of a mask that the Changing God gave her. And I don't know if that's the first Memovira, or the last, or this current Memovira. But something is going to happen. The heart offers no explanation as to why it showed you this memory. But the implication is clear. The Memovira is merely a disguise, a mask that conceals the first cast-off. She has been alive, hiding behind a false identity for years. Let's ask the Bloom why it showed us the memory. You try to form the question in a way the Bloom will understand, but you either fail or it ignores you. Instead, the air in the chamber ripples. At once, a transdimensional rift tears itself into being, and a human figure topples out, dripping black juices, coughing and gagging, vomiting on the floor. You recognize the man at once. It's Mazov, the cast-off artificer you met in Zarian Daywalker's Mere. Your first thought is that the Bloom has somehow tricked you, releasing the wrong man, but no. The Bloom's voices are insistent. Ishin is Mazov. The first cast-off concealed the truth from you to avoid arousing your suspicion. For the moment, Mazov... That's brilliant, by the way. That's brilliant. For the moment, Mazov is recovering from his ordeal, barely aware of his surroundings. He hasn't even seen you yet. The Bloom tongues slide painlessly out of your body, setting you free. They show no further interest in you, and the whispering voices are gone from your mind. Mazov rises, clutching himself as he abruptly vomits a clot of black fluid onto the glistening flesh beneath his feet. Small red mounds mar the flesh between the wires, crisscrossing his skin. Gods, he growls. Gods. He looks up at you. His mechanical eye sockets spin, wheels within wheels, focusing on your face. You're the cast-off that was riding Zarian Daywalker. What the hell are you doing down here? Oh, how'd you recognize me? Muscle movements, he says, grimacing. Small variations on an expression. As good as a signature for those who know what to look for. He coughs more of the black fluid against the back of his wrist. He didn't answer me. What are you doing down here? I thought I was rescuing someone named Ishin, but here you are instead. Yeah, that's me, he says. It's a nickname. Short for Ishinigzar. Because I look like one. Whatever it is, but no one calls me that except... And he pauses and smirks. The first sent you, didn't she? Not surprised. She won't be getting the resonance chamber working on her own. It's all too easy to destroy the damn thing if you don't know what you're doing. Well, I almost did, I think, but that's the whole problem, is actually that I did. Something about the words said in his voice stirs a memory in you. Resonance chamber, the sensation builds. He winces, teeth clenched. Gods, the Bloom is a terrible host. Stuck its damn tongues into my guts to force feed me. Filled my lungs with bile. I'm not sure what you did to get me out, but thank you. And he spits a black tinged wad of phlegm over his shoulder. Well, how do you spit over your shoulder? Is that even possible? I don't know. Anyway, well, how do we get out of here? She's waiting, and you know how she is. Well, actually, I don't know how she is. I thought I was working for the Memovira until just a few minutes ago. Well, if I know how the Memovira is, then what the hell is she doing? She's a terrible person. His expression goes wooden. Skist, he says, rubbing his forehead. Look, don't tell her I said anything. I don't need anyone shouting at me right now, let alone her. This is the worst headache I've ever had. But a headache is uncoiling through your head now as well, it seems. He's not saying that, that's the narrator. Alarm spreads over Mazov's face, and he reaches out to catch you as you topple forward. You're on the water. The fading pulse of a sonar alarm ripples through the water, then is gone. An invisible pressure crushes your body, squeezing your head. A Gibra with a cast-off tattoo rises from the dark to confront you. I should have known. You need something of ours to finish your resonance chamber, don't you, father? He regards you with scorn. You haven't learned anything. You would sacrifice all of us for a chance at survival. You and the first. I didn't expect that, actually. Pride blinds you both, she says. Or it says. I don't know what a keeper is, but it's a cast-off, I guess. You're wrong, Thumb, you snarl, yet his words frighten you. Is he saying Marilel's alive, with her own plan to stop the sorrow? She must be stopped. Any plan of hers would be dangerous. I've built the resonance chamber to save us all, you say. It has the power to weaken the sorrow. It can kill the creature. A half-truth. The chamber certainly has the power, but who knows if it would be enough to kill. Will you apologize to me then, selfish child? Will you beg my forgiveness?
Making a note.
You lie, you always have, Thumb says calmly. Although your motives differ, Marilel's plan and yours will result in the same end, the destruction of every last cast-off. I will not allow this to happen. And he makes a complicated gesture with his fingers, and the pressure on your head increases. Thumb's voice grows muffled and fades as your mind, your sire's consciousness, flees his imprisoned body, abandoning it to the Gibra in favor of a new host. You return to consciousness, the headache fading. Your mouth tastes of seawater, or blood. Light and wet heat bathes the side of your face as the bloom opens a transdimensional portal. You can't be sure where it leads, but it's certainly your only way out. Someone, Mazov, is bracing you, holding you up. You all right? Mazov, what is the first plan with the chamber? To sever the... And he gives you an odd look. You know, maybe you should ask her. I don't know enough about what's going on here. I just know that it'll free us from the sorrow, without sucking us all into someone else's mind. That should be enough. And he shrugs. She can't do it without me, though. I best be getting back. Okay. He's off. Patting you awkwardly on the shoulder, he limps past you into the portal and vanishes. It's only when he's gone that you see the glittering contours of a small object lying where Mazov was standing. A mirror caster. It must have fallen from Mazov's pockets. You wipe the slime from the joints of the machine and add it to your belongings. This spherical object is made of an unfamiliar gold-greenish metal. Huh. The object seems to be constantly moving, rotating in different directions, but when you hold it, you cannot feel the slightest hint of friction. You feel the click and whirling of countless mechanisms moving within the device, generating an almost intolerable heat. Okay.
Making a note.
Well, that was a freaking ride. Okay, well, we're gonna need to look at this thing. Just give me a little bit. I'll be right back. Okay, let's look at the mirror caster. And, well, see what he has in it. This mirror caster is hot to the touch. You feel the click and whirl of countless mechanisms moving beneath your hands. The urge to explore the mirror within is as palpable as thirst. Which is that it's not palpable, because palpable means something that you can touch and not feel, as in, oh, I feel hot, warm. No, palpable means actually you can touch it with your hands. Anyway, let's inspect it first and see what happens. The clicking of the mechanisms within the device is a rhythmic thing, like a drum beat, like soldiers marching in perfect, helpless unison. Let's enter. As your consciousness coalesces, you find yourself in an underground bunker, which is shaking from an attack far above. You stand mid-salute in front of a cast-off, encased in an articulated metal carapace. Maybe the one that we messed around with before? He's so skeletal you doubt he could move without it. You remember his name is Lovak, Padrekan's second in command in the Endless Battle. 3 advisors sit behind him. Lovak shakes his synth-encased head and addresses you. Don't worry about the message, Berikael. It's been rendered moot. We're just lucky Commander Reckon made it out of Mil Avest alive. She missed the destruction of the sanctuary by moments. Wait a minute, this happens... This is recent! For some reason, I've always felt the mirror casters were like really old stuff. Oh, and this is the guy? Oh yeah, no, I was saying that maybe no, this is it's like an exoskeleton sort of thing. So this is recent. So yeah, he made it out of, yeah, Padrekan he bailed. But this guy died recently with Berikael. A thunderous explosion rocks the bunker, sending everyone staggering. Wait a minute. Was he actually in Mil Avest? Is this Mil Avest and is this the bunker? But below? As you can see, we have troubles of our own. Maybe not. Lovak says, getting back to his feet. The Changing God's latest ploy has paralyzed the Reconciler of Truth. Of course, Heaven's Rejoinder remains functioning, which means we cannot reverse their successes, while they can reverse ours. He leads you to a strategy table showing a three-dimensional projection of a battlefield across parallel realities. He swipes through several images. All of them show your army on the verge of defeat. He shakes his head. We are in more danger now of losing this war than since the first died. I'm afraid I must send you out again, Barricale. We must save the Reconciler. I don't care about that one, how the shields in Mil Avest went down. Yes, what are the Reconciler of Truth and Heaven's Rejoinder? Lovak laughs. Again? Well, I suppose one of the hazards of dancing so often through realities and time is that it plays hell with memory. Not to worry, I'll explain it once more. Centuries ago, when the First still lived, she found the Reconciler, a machine of the ancients which allowed the user to look at multiple versions of recent events and lock reality onto the one they liked best, making it the only reality. With it, she began choosing realities in which we had won more battles than we had lost, and quickly drove the Changing God to the brink of defeat, until, that is, he acquired his own machine, Heaven's Rejoinder, which can undo the Reconciler's reality and make its own. Oh, so that we need to get both? Since then, our war has become one of feint and counterfeint, of competing and collapsing realities where no battle is ever entirely won or completely lost, and where both sides look always for a final advantage. And he sighs and looks at the table where one by one multiple battlefields are beginning to wink out, narrowing down to one. And it seems as if the Chalcedon, the Changing God's general, may have found his advantage at last. With the Reconciler sabotaged, the Heaven's Rejoinder well defended, we may never turn the tide. Okay, how did the massacre of Mil Avest happen? How did the shields go down? Let's ask that. I don't know, he says. Maybe the Sorrow finally grew strong enough to smash through. Maybe there was a traitor. I have heard nothing. I wonder if Patricken was a traitor. That's a good point. But he knows nothing, so yeah, it's just conjecture at this point. I'm ready to serve. Excellent, says Lovak and turns to his advisors, all cast-offs, you notice. Friends, what are your suggestions? How do we undo what has been done to the Reconciler without using the Reconciler? The scarred female cast-off in red armor speaks up. I recommend an all-out assault on the position of Heaven's Rejoinder. This will, of course, fail, but it will give cover for Barricale to slip through the paths of the White Nests and reach the Rejoinder from behind. There, she can reset it, then destroy it. And she pounds the table. Then we will be on the only side who can change history. Because it's sabotaged, but it still works? Huh. A male mutant, exquisitely beautiful except for the second mouth in his throat, speaks in melodious harmony. I suggest Barricale uses the reality storm that ravages no man's land to find the Reconciler saboteur. If she can navigate the shifting shards, she can stop the saboteur before he reaches it. And he shrugs. This will always it's like an ongoing sabotage. Okay, so I understand what it is. It's like, basically, it's a blockade of sorts. This will only return us to the status quo. Yep, I figured. But it will be easier for Barricale to deal with one man than the deadly White Nests. Any suggestions? Asks Slovak. When there is no answer, he turns to you. Well, I approve of either path, as it is you who will face these challenges. I leave it to you which you will choose. What do you say? Okay, can I choose a third one or four? That's 4 options. Let's see. Tell me about the White Nests. Yeah, why is it so dangerous? The White Nests, says Lovak, are the catacombs where the Chalcedon breeds his Stratharian war moths. Ugh. A horrible place. I don't know what the tunnels were originally used for, but now they are a tangled mess of webs and larvae. It's filled with traps, since the enemy knows the tunnels are a vulnerable approach. But the real danger is the moths themselves, horrible creatures whose phosphorescent glow withers the flesh and maddens the mind. Man, this is sounding like, I I don't know, Dark Souls-like or something terrible like that. I mean, certainly more terrible than a bloom. And he shivers. Once they sense your presence, he says, they will not rest until you are dead. It won't be an easy approach by any means. This guy's dead. This guy's dead. Should I use that to my advantage? The knowledge that this guy, the mirror caster, you know, the guy to whom the mirror caster belongs, is dead. Should I use that? How can I do that, though? What about the reality storm? Lovak shakes his head. We and the Changing God have used the Reconciler of Truth and Heaven's Rejoinder so often, and at such cross purposes, that there are places in the no man's land between our front lines where no single reality holds sway. Fractured ripples of possibility drift across the field like squalls of rain, changing all in their path and offering entry into other times and versions of the presence. And of course, once one enters a different version of reality, then all the shards one encounters in that reality are different too. And he pales. It's the less deadly route, but it's still possible to be lost forever in such a maze. Yeah. Well, I will make my way through the white nests while the army assaults Heaven's Rejoinder. Let's make one last hurrah, I guess. Lovak nods, then looks at the others. Any objections to Barikel's choice? They cast off with two-mouthed shrugs. If she is brave enough to face the moths, then we are brave enough to commit to our troops. And with luck, says the cast-off in red armor, when she has successfully reset the Rejoinder, the battle will not have happened at all, and our troops will be safe. Very well, says Lovak, standing. Then make your preparations. When you are ready, we will begin. 2 days and 2 long marches later, you and Lovak's army are 50 kilometers inside the Changing God's territory. While the army continues one direction, Lovak takes your arm and points you towards a ravine. Your path lies here. Follow this rift for a kilometer, and you'll find a Captain Hugo Igrach waiting for you. He knows the white nests better than any man. He'll help you through them. After that, you're on your own. Wait a minute, we have a guide on the white nests? And also white nests, I just realized, because I always figured, you know, a nest, it's a bird, right? But these are cocoons. Yeah. Lovely. Nothing will stop me, sir. Don't worry. Lovak smiles as he turns away. With an attitude like that, how can you fail? Well, it's very simple, actually, I suppose, judging from what we heard. You enter the ravine and it leads you away from the fighting, getting deeper as it goes. Finally, at a point so narrow the walls almost shut out the sky, a man leading 2 leashed Ergovor hounds steps out of a cave and cracks a smile. The skinny small man has dark brown eyes that look friendly. They seem to sit in bottomless sockets, an impression encouraged by his prominent nose and wide smile. All this is surrounded by long, stick-straight black hair, in which some gray shimmers. You can feel his wit in the air around him, as if radiated by every cell in his body. Oh, this is awesome. This is very well written. I think this one stands out as better written than the others, but it just might be me anyway. Hello, sunshine, he says. You must be very Kale. I'm Hugo Igracht. The nests are just through here. But before we go in, let me tell you what we're up against. And he unrolls a hand-drawn map. The tunnels are mined at every intersection, sometimes with detonation ciphers, sometimes plain old explosives. My dogs here can eat energy blasts, but they'll die on regular mines like we will, so it's best to check what we're walking into. Trouble is, the longer we're in there, the more likely the moths are going to find us. So if we take too many wrong turns, we're in trouble. You do not want to fight Stratharian war moths, trust me. So no shilly-shallying. And he hands you the map. Right. In we go. Okay, so how do I... Where are we? So, that's deadly. Where are we here? Yeah. Okay, so this is the entrance. So we have terrible moths over there. Let's not go there. But this looks like... So I want to take a right, and then a left, and then a right, and then a left. Oh my god. Okay. Should I write it down or something? So right, left. So if I do this, let's just think of it like this. Moths are terrible. That looks like an explosion place. That looks like reality distorted. It's actually very interesting. I prefer that one, because if there was explosions, that it's already gone. Okay, so we can take a right, a left, a right, a left, and then a right, and a left, and a right. Sounds like a plan. Let's go. The cave narrows as you enter, then widens again at a stone wall with a man-high crack in it. Egratch lets his dogs go through it first, then turns sideways and edges through after them. You do the same and find yourself in L-shaped tunnel covered in moth, silk, and bones. The stench of the place makes your eyes water. Pointing to the map, your guide shows you that you are in the southeastern corner of the tunnels, which lead away into darkness to the west and the north. Which way, sister? Asks Egratch. Let's go north first. Sounds like a plan. This room glows green with the light of phosphorescent mushrooms. They grow on everything. The floor, the rocks that have tumbled from the ceiling, and the bodies of the soldiers that lie pressed up against the walls as if thrown there. They also grow in the open archways that lead from the room, north, west, and south. Somewhere hidden among the mushrooms is a trap, but you can't tell what kind without testing. I know what it is. It's not an explosive, I don't think. Let's enter the room without testing. Let's see what happens. Lovely. No. Okay. I think that went well. Kaboom! The trap is an explosive and it's killed one of Hugo's Hergovor hounds. Fortunately, the poor beast took all the damage, and you and Hugo remain unscathed. The explosive was detonated, turning the glowing mushrooms into paste. But the room is clear. You can now go west, north, west, or south. Let's go west. I was thinking that, you know, had mushrooms, why would it have an explosive? But then again, what do I know? This room is a towering, echoey space with vaulted ceilings almost lost in the darkness above you. Grave markers rise it like game pieces of it on a checkered floor. All are webbed in moth silk. There are exits on all four walls, north, west, east, and south. You know there is a trap hidden among the graves, but without testing you can't tell what kind. Let's enter the room without testing again. Freaking hell, okay, so we're dead. We're dead. Yeah, the explosive was detonated, knocking some of because we have no more hounds, right? There's just two of them. Let's go north from here. Yeah. The corridor ends at a bottomless pit crossed by a narrow four-way railless bridge that meets in the middle. There are... Oh, so that is a pit as well? Probably. There are open archways in the walls of the pit leading north, west, east, and south, but you are certain there is also a trap where the four bridges meet. Unfortunately, you won't know what kind unless you test for it. Okay, let's enter again without testing. Okay, Hugo is dead. If I spring any more traps, I die. Okay. Yeah, the trap is an explosive. We just found all the explosive traps. Oh my god. Poor Hugo takes all the damage and he's lying dead at your feet, bleeding from 100 wounds. If you spring any more traps, it'll be you who takes the damage. Okay. The explosive was detonated, shaking the bridge and sending pebbles rattling into the abyss. But the way is clear. You can now go north, west, east, and south. Okay, let's go west. The roof of this room has collapsed and is only held up off the ground by a few stone sarcophagi, or sarcophagi. If you squat down, you can see that there are exits on all four walls, north, west, east, and south. But to get to them, you're going to have to crawl on your hands and knees. You also don't know what kind of trap the enemy has set here. You'll need to test it. Let's do that. Your testing reveals that the room contains an energy detonation cipher. Let's defuse the cipher before entering the room. The cipher has been diffused. The room is clear. You can now go north, west, east, and south. Oh my, okay, it's north. I think we'll be fine. Except for the muted light coming from the exits to the west, east, and south, this room is utterly and unnaturally dark. But it is full of whispers, a constant sibilant hiss of them. You hear your name spoken, at least you think you do. Then the voice of an old friend, long dead, pleading for release from pain. Then mutterings of treachery. Somewhere in that darkness, the enemy has set a trap, but you won't know what type until you test it. Okay, let's test it. It's of course an energy, because the dogs would have done that, but whatever. Let's diffuse. The room is clear, you can now feel okay. In the distance, you can hear the fluttering of giant wings and you see a soft, putrescent glow. The Stratharian war moths have awakened. Yeah, I imagined, but we did push forward, and basically we did this as badly as we could. Let's go west. A seemingly empty room with exits to the east and south and a staircase on the north wall leading up to the glorious daylight, light of day. You have found the exit, but don't be too hasty. This room could be trapped too. Maybe you should check it. The fluttering of the moths grows louder and the glow from their wings. They're getting closer. That's determined first. Your testing reveals an energy detonation that's diffused first. The room is clear. You can now go north. Crap. 4 moths appear from several directions at once, surrounding you. They hover on glowing wings, poised to attack. You will have to fight them if you want to escape. Let's attack. Okay. We did it! You leap in, drawing and slashing in one smooth motion and cut a moth out of the air, dodging gracefully from their withering light. The remaining moths come for you again. Okay. Okay, you attack again, killing another moth and dancing away before any light can touch you. There are 2 moths left, but they aren't dying easily. Let's try and force my way past them. With a desperate shout, you charge the moths in an attempt to flee. You are struck by their withering light almost immediately. It saps your breath, your strength, and you fall to the ground weakened. They close in quickly to finish you. The last thing you hear, as Beriakel dies, and you are wrenched back into your own body, is the soft, deadly flutter of their wings.
I'm ready to learn something new.
Well, we screwed up, didn't we? We screwed up. But we also leveled up, which is a nice thing. He screwed up. Well,
forward.
Knowing what I know, well, it could be random. I could just redo that again, but I'm not. I'm not going to do that again. I think it might be interesting to do that. So let's increase extra effort or increased stat pools. Let's go with increased stat pools over here on might and see how things go. But yeah, that's gonna be that for this episode because we're out of time. So I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Torment, Tides of Numenera. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video, but above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye!